The car ran really good. And
I don't know what to do with my hands.
hey guys, it's Danny B here, and I'm joined by
Claudia B.
Well, as you can see, throwback shirts are on, and it is officially throwback week here. It's Monday, so we're going to be looking today at all the throwback schemes that have been released so far, and even then, as we start to record this, some are still being released, so there's probably going to be some we're missing in this video, so bear with us. We're about to go out of town for a few days, so we wanted to get this out here and just give you, me and her, as you can see behind me, we are diecast collectors, so we appreciate good-looking cars. So that's what this kind of thing is all about, seeing what do these cars look like, and if we were diecast buyers, well, we are, would we buy them if they were offered as diecast? So that's kind of what we're doing here. And when we see these cars, we're gonna give them a rating from what we agree on.
1 to 10, I think, is a good kind of range.
So 1 to 10 is kind of what we'll rank these, and we might see one, we agree it's a 1, we might see another one, we say it's a 10, there might be another one that's a 10. So
and then at the end we can do like what we think is our our favorite, rank them 1 to top 3 or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then we can do an honorable mention. Does that work?
Yep, that works for me. So with that being said, let's get straight into the cars.
All right. I've seen most of these, so I think it'll be interesting. Some I know I haven't seen, so let's see what they look like.
There we go. All right, so here's number 1 here. It's the 00 of Quinn Half. I think that says Permatex is a sponsor on here, and I had to do some looking up on this. This goes back to 1938, which this is well before NASCAR started officially, I think, but this is going back to like the first car that won a true stock car race, I think is what the story was behind this. So, what would you rate this one, Claudia?
My opinion on this car, it's funny. I think it's just the lighting, but it gives me this Star Wars kind of vibe.
Like
I think there's a
lightsabers on here.
Yeah, but that's not what we're looking at. But I really like the kind of the landscape kind of scheme, like behind the 00. Mm-hmm. I think that's really neat. I don't know what's saying, like, is it say Quinn Half his name? Like, right
yeah, because that's like the old school way to do the names.
Okay. I like it.
Used to on the hoods, they'd have like a logo going down through here like this. I'm going to give it a 3 personally.
Wow, okay. You're on the negative end, and I'm on more of the positive end. I really like this. 8? I think it's solid. I really like it. I mean, I don't know, it's the blue and white on the hood. Like, it just kind of... That kind of throws me off, as in like it makes you almost dizzy, Yeah. But the side, I really like the side. Why are you on the negative end?
I don't know. Like, I think the number is probably good, but I'm not really sure what this picture is supposed to be exactly. Like, I don't think that a car in 1938 had like this going on.
An image, yeah.
When we're talking about throwbacks here, I like more of an authenticity of it.
Yeah. I mean, if we're I think you're thinking more at the end on like classic, like throwbacks, like what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like this is more of has a picture of a throwback versus this wasn't a car ran from a certain time.
Right.
So,
it's like they took some aspects of a car like that, but then they're incorporating like a certain year into it. So
not bad.
That's why I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
Next one. All right, we have Brad Keselowski. Is that the normal car?
Honestly, when this got released, I said, what's different? And Danny had to tell me what actually car that was being thrown back to. And as you can see in this image, at the bottom, it kind of shows his 22 car. What you were telling me about that.
This is 2010. So this is when he first signed with Penske Racing, and he won the Nationwide Series championship that season.
Okay, well, it's memorable for Brad. So I appreciate that it's kind of neat that he gets a throwback to himself, highlight some of his career, whatnot. But in terms of a throwback, I mean, it does look very similar because one of my favorite things on throwbacks is when you have the same sponsor as the car you're thrown back to. So it looks almost very identical. But
I mean, this car is 10 years old technically, but the scheme has barely changed.
I think that's the problem, is that it doesn't look...
Personally, like, if we're talking about what the official discount tire scheme is, this one looks better because this flows really well with the roundness of the tires here. So, I mean, I think it personally looks better than what they actually run, but it's just the fact that it looks pretty much like the same thing.
I think is where it's a bummer is like, the Penske design team hasn't changed much since since 10 years ago, so it doesn't look like a throwback. And if they had a different design, then it would be like, oh, I can tell this is different. Honestly, I didn't tell very much about.
Yeah, like you talk about that, like the Joe Logano's paint scheme that he always runs. next year will make 10 years since that paint scheme debuted.
Yeah. I guess they just really like their paint scheme and just roll with it.
Yep. But if I have to rate this one, I don't know, just because of the lack of creativity, like the sentimental value for Brad helps, like, is making me want to go higher, but I'm going to give it an appropriate 2.
Okay. I was going to be on the low end as well. The sentimental value, I appreciate. It's neat, memorable, but because they hadn't changed and it doesn't look a whole lot different, I'm in about the 3 range.
All right. Well, speaking of 3, Austin Dillon. I love this one. It's not a Dale Earnhardt. It's not a Richard Childress. It's a Junior Johnson. He had the 3 car before Richard Childress did. And I remember even in a game, NASCAR Thunder 2003, you can unlock Junior Johnson as a Thunder plate and use one of his number 3 cars in it. So this is really cool to see this one being ran by Austin Dillon. I love the old school American ethanol on the hood like that. Everything about this is done right.
Yeah, I really like it. I feel like the paint color's right. It's kind of that off-white looking. The font looks identical. I really think they nailed this one. And one of my favorite things is even their T-shirt looks awesome, and that they're selling.
A lot of the T-shirts look really good this year.
Yeah, so I know that's not what we're rating here, but I really like this. I think it matches well. So I'm on the more positive end of this. I'm gonna rate it pretty high. I'm gonna say 8 or 9. I think it's up there. I think it's really a nice one.
I'm gonna go with an 8 on this one.
Yeah, it's a really solid one.
All right, next one.
Mr. Kevin Harvick.
See, this isn't a throwback drive or anything. It's just a throwback to an old school Busch can design. But personally, I love the colors on this. It looks really good. Maybe this is just me. I think you should have a universal number color on the top and sides in this case, because it's not really different on the top and bottom here. You're still incorporating a lot of blue and white on both of them. I'd have gone with the red numbers on the top here too, but that's just me personally.
I love the colors, the light blue, and then the kind of icy mountains. I really like the overall scheme. Stewart Haas's design team does really well with Kevin Harvick's cars. I think that's why they sell so well. Is like they've had Busch as a sponsor for a very long time, but it seems like almost constantly they're coming out with new and just awesome looking schemes. I think they really win. So do well in this category. So I'm on the high end. I think about a solid 9. It's really up there for me.
I'm gonna say 9.5. It's not quite 10, but I'm gonna say 9.5 on this.
Yeah, I love the scheme. I'd be okay with that scheme running anytime.
I would go for 10, but 9.5
because the color.
No, because it's not throwing back to anyone in NASCAR. It's just a throwback for the sponsor. So 9.5. That's my rating. Now this is as good of a picture of this as I can get. So bear with me on this. But this Ryan Newman Oscar Meyer car actually throws back to a design from one of Ryan Newman's first dirt midget cars, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Or sprint cars or something like that. I like the colors on it. It's not the exact same as what he used to run, but it's pretty similar to it. It flows really well. Like, personally, this would look good if it was just a traditional Oscar Mayer paint scheme, in my opinion. Like, I think that looks pretty good by itself.
Yeah.
I would say rating this a 7 would be appropriate.
Okay. Well, I like that, back to the Brad thing. I like it sentimental, but I don't know. Let's for Ryan Newman's sake, let's give it a 6.
All right.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not like blowing my mind great. So I think it's middle of the road, not bad, and just I think it's an average one. Not
All right. Well, next one. But this is Josh Bilicki driving for Tommy Baldwin Racing, and this is an old car that Tom Baldwin Sr., Tommy Baldwin's dad, drove.
Okay.
From back to one of his modifieds. I like the Insurance King has come on board with the idea of changing their font just for this. I like that. I like the number font change to match the car. So I think someone said on Twitter, if you're going to do a throwback to somebody and it requires a different font for the number, you need to do it.
Do they not do that? Is that not a
Some
standard
guys don't.
thing?
Some guys don't.
Well,
so
I think the number is kind of what makes it iconic. That's what the kind of number is, almost an identity.
Yeah.
If you keep your number the same, it's like, okay, you're halfway doing it. If you're going to commit to, doing a throwback, you need to do it all the way. So I appreciate that.
It's very simple. It's not too flashy. I'm going to say but it's not the greatest one I've ever seen, but I'm going to give it a 5.5. That's going to be my grade.
Okay, you and all these little halves.
I don't want to give it a 5 because that seems like I don't like it because that's right in the middle. But I do kind of like it.
You're neither satisfied nor dissatisfied if you're right in
I'm
the
more
middle.
satisfied than I am dissatisfied.
Okay, well I'm gonna go right in the middle then. I'm going 5.
All right.
I like it matches almost the exact card because even the card from this image up here we see that there is no sponsor. So it is mainly yellow. I like that. But just because I guess there's no like design on it. I mean, it is an accurate throwback, but there's just not any extra lines or whatever. It just kind of looks plain.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm in the middle of the road. But I think, in terms of matching the car, they did very well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On to the next one.
This is one that a lot of people have liked so far. Tyler Reddick throwing it back to Jeff Burton. Now, they tried to say this is Jeff Burton's rookie car, but in all reality, this is not Jeff Burton's rookie car. Jeff Burton's actual rookie car was like this solid blue of Ray Bestis. This is actually, I think, like the second generation of it. Okay. So there's just a small little error in that. But I like it. I wish they would have leaned the number the correct way, but I guess Tyler Reddick's his number is supposed to lean to the left, so I don't know.
So there's a case where they didn't change it.
Yeah,
they didn't adapt all the way.
That's taking a point off, in my opinion, for not doing it accurate, but it is what it is. But Caterpillar on board be the primary sponsor of this one this weekend, so I like it. I'm gonna say a 7 on this one.
Okay, well I'm going like I did with the Ryan Newman. I did the door number as my rating. I'm going to go an 8.
All right. I would say an 8, but just the fact of that number not being leaned the right way, that's bringing a point down for me.
Losing a point there and then losing a point as advertising it as his rookie car.
Yeah.
Even I think there was a clip of Tyler Reddick and Jeff Burton and Rick Allen.
Yeah.
Was even like it had a Zoom call kind of revealing to Jeff Burton, hey, this is what Tyler Reddick is driving,
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, cool, whatnot. And they even, like, kind of, Rick Allen even said, oh, this is throwing back to your rookie car. It even said that. So I think that was kind of odd. Maybe Jeff Burton didn't want to cut him off and was like, actually, it's not. I don't know if he wanted to say that. But, I mean, if it's not, then that kind of loses a point. So that lands us at 8. So I really like the colors. The kind of, looking at it, it looks like a retro car. Mm-hmm. Thinking about T-shirts, I'm always, I see people at the racetrack wearing kind of retro shirts, or whatnot. This one, I think, would be a cool shirt.
Yeah.
All right, I think I know who's next. Chase Elliott. This is my driver.
So this is part of a set.
I can give you my ranking right now. 10.
This is part of a set. We'll get through to them all eventually, but this is going back to Jimmy Johnson's 2009 paint scheme. Why did they choose 2009? Well, I guess he's in the 9 too. So
there you
go. But no, this is more specifically. This is when Jimmy Johnson broke the record held by Cale Yarborough for most consecutive championships.
Yeah.
So I am going to give this one, match to its number, a 9.
No, 10. I just think it matches really well. And I just think all that looks awesome. So I'm going 10. Sticking with that.
Only thing I would say, if I could make any change to it, just make this part right here go lining up with the outline of the Napa like that. And then maybe I would have said a 10. That's the only thing holding it back for me.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next one.
We have Denny Hamlin.
Okay.
So this has got a weird story behind it.
This is one I have not seen, so I'm interested.
This is throwing it back to a Cale Yarborough type scheme, but he was not sponsored by Federal Express or anything like that. But this is like the year Cale Yarborough ran a scheme that looked like this. He was in the 11 car, but this is the year that Federal Express was founded. So that was the reason that they kind of went for this kind of idea. So I like the idea of taking a few aspects and combining them together like that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the scheme looks pretty nice. I like the throwback logo or like that. The throwback numbers, I think it all looks pretty good. So I think for me, I'm going to give this one an 8, actually. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a really well-made paint scheme. Like what leads me not quite to a 10 is, because it's not an actual car throwback, but still it's very solid. I like it. Looks different, at least for Denny Hamlin fans, that they can hopefully get a diecast made. It finally looks different. Maybe it'll get made. All right, on to Mr. Ryan Blaney.
And we are going back to Paul Menard is who this is throwing back to.
Yeah, which is kind of neat, because they have the Menards sponsorship, so that's neat.
This is like the first car that Paul Menard drove in his racing career, which originally, this is closer to the actual color scheme, I guess, for Menards, and then they eventually, transitioned into that neon being the, the highlighted part of it. I liked Paul Menard as a driver personally. I always wanted to see him do good. I was happy to see him, win a few times that he did. So I like it. It's very authentic, and I'm going to give this one an 8. I like it.
I'd go 9. I'm a little bit higher on the scale. I really like the colors. I think they do well, and from what I remember, I think they match the Paul Menard car pretty well. Don't you think?
They did.
So very positive. All right, next one.
We have Clint Boyer. I've not seen a Dillon throwback yet, but we have Clint Boyer here, and gosh,
it was the same. The sponsor.
The sponsor's the same.
That's my favorite when that happens.
Yeah, I cannot remember who drove that 42 car there.
Kyle Petty. That's what it says. Kyle Petty throwback.
Oh, okay. I'm blind. Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. And he did drive the 42 for a long time. But I like this. It's matching everything up authentic. Number, I don't know if that's the exact font. It looks kind of small on Clint Boyer's car there. I feel like they could have made that number bigger.
Yeah, it looks like kind of skinny versus if you look at the Kyle Petty 4, it's real kind of fat, thick, like takes up almost,
Yeah. I give this one a 7.
I agree with you. I think it's really close. My favorite is when they throw back to the actual sponsor, but the number doesn't look quite right and whatnot. So I think the number is kind of holding me back because it doesn't look exactly. And I think even the logo on the hood probably could have been bigger. The Kyle Petty logo looks like it's stretching across the entire hood, whereas, Clint Boyer's one, it's kind of more centered and small.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of, it's okay, but could have been better.
Yep. Next one. We have Kyle Busch here, throwing it back to Elliot Sadler in 2004. And what I love about this is it's not the exact same paint scheme he drives today. It's very similar because, it's hard to make the M&M's car too much different. But just the fact that they went all the way by changing the number font to, that's what gives you the indication, hey, this is Elliot Sadler right here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is that's Robert Yates font right there. I like this one. This is going to be the first one I give a 10. I like it.
Okay, well, I'm going to differ with you, and I'm going to be negative Nelly over here.
Whoa.
I don't know. I guess because it's like the Brad thing. They just don't change the scheme much. And so when Danny showed me this one, I said, what's different? Honestly, I'm like, all I thought is that I could tell on the roof, they don't have brown, and the little brown spot by where the Toyota logo is on the bottom. And I barely noticed the number change. I don't know. I just didn't like this. It wasn't very creative. But they did. It's the exact same sponsor.
Yeah.
So I'm more negative. I'm more like 3 or 4. I just don't feel like they put much effort into it.
Well,
like I said, I just didn't notice much difference. So I'm on the lower end.
Okay. All right. This one here is where I get a little, because this is his 2020 throwback, and honestly, he had this exact car last year, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't like...
Was it the same driver thrown back too?
Yeah, because it throws back to himself.
Oh, well...
This is back when he drove for Chance 2 Motorsports or Junior Motorsports. It's back when he drove for Chance 2 Motorsports.
In the 8 car? In
the 8 car.
Okay.
And this looks identical to what he ran last year. Well, there's a few changes. It's not the exact same, but it's still practically the same car. So I'm like, what's the point of that?
Yeah, well, they're being lazy there in the design team, No.
So, I mean, I like it. It's hard to make a bad Bass Pro Shops car, in my opinion.
I agree.
But just the fact that he did it last year, basically, I'm going to say a 3 for this.
Okay. Well, I agree with you. You can't reuse something. Like, come on, be more creative here.
Yep. All right. On to the next one, and it is the defending winner of this race, Eric Jones. Now, I like this rendering I found of it. The first time I saw this, a lot of people weren't very happy with what it looked like. But here's the thing. They do have to follow the Sport Clips colors here. And what it's throwing back to is this right here. A Tony Stewart Home Depot Lithium Ion paint scheme. Now, this car is highly praised. I mean, but the thing is, like, Tony never, I don't think he wanted this. It was just a very popular car. But then you go to this, and it's like, I mean, it looks nice. It's, using the same design of it. It's just you got to have the Sport Clips colors in there. You can't do Home Depot orange with Sport Clips, It's not going to look right.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's drivers that change their color of the cars for, this. I feel like Sports Clips didn't want to...
They didn't want to give up that.
They didn't want to commit that far. They're like, okay, we'll change it just to show we support. But
yeah.
I think they were holding to, sticking their guns, or what's the saying, like they're holding their guns,
they're
like
standing their ground.
Staying to the ground. Like they didn't want to change too much. I think what would have been cool is on the hood. You know how the Home Depot has the box look.
Yeah.
If they kind of more framed the Sports Clips.
Yeah, that would have looked good.
Because if I seen, which then again, I didn't watch NASCAR back in the day. Like looking at the door, the side of the car, I honestly wouldn't know who that's throwing back to. I just think that would be like Sports Clip changed their logo. I mean, not their logo, their paint scheme,
Personally, if this is just a straight up Sports Clip design, I think it looks pretty good.
See, that's what I'm saying. I feel like seeing this, I would just think that they just changed their design. I didn't think that
because
would
they're
be
trying to throw back to Tony Stewart, though, it's like, yeah. So I'm going to say, just because I like it, I would say run this as a regular paint scheme if they wanted to. But I'm going to say a 7 for this.
I'm going 6, so we're about in the same range. I think they tried, but just didn't quite get there.
Yep. All right, on to this one. It's Matt Benedetto, and I cannot remember if this is a certain driver. It's just one of the early days of Wood Brothers Racing. So,
okay.
I can't find anything bad at this. I mean, it looks pretty authentic to what they're trying to go for. So, yeah. I don't know. I'll give it a solid 6.
Okay, I'm going to go 8. I think it looks nice. Colors look like they match up. Number looks pretty good, I think. I think it's a good, well-made car.
Yeah.
Good replica.
All right. Well, sounds pretty good to me.
All right. Joey Logano?
Mm-hmm. So, this has had a lot of people not too happy online. And it's mostly because this car has been done before. The 32 team, I think, is who did this one before. There's nothing that's been done with the Shell Pennzoil logos to really look like they're going for. Like, I guess I even see Pennzoil is even on this car right here a little bit. But it's like, you could have focused on putting the Pennzoil logos in those specific spots where it is on the car you're throwing back to. But I mean,
they did do that?
No, they didn't.
Didn't they put it on the deck lid?
Well, there's that one, but it's still got the Shell logo on it beside of it. But then it's like on the back, like, you could have just done that. You could have put it up onto the little post up behind the rear window, like it is on that one.
Yeah.
Shell and Pennzoil didn't do anything to make their logos kind of look like the Miller font or anything like that.
Well, that and the big thing is the number.
They didn't change the number font. And even then, they've got the colors kind of wrong here. The yellows don't look right. The red doesn't look right. The red's too bright for that car right there.
All right, with all this negative over here, what you rate it?
I'm gonna give them the first one. I don't like this one.
Okay.
I don't like it.
He's negative over here.
They did great with their Kevin Harvick throwback, but I don't like this one.
Okay, well there's a like Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, that was what they did last year.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Kevin Harvick this year, and I'm like, that's not the same team.
No.
Okay, I'm since this number's a lot in this picture, I'm going to.
All right.
It is what it is. Too many negatives with this.
And here is number 2 of that Hendrick set here. People were very confused about why they went with this car here. Some people said the colors were a little bit different, like the red wasn't the same red, but I guess I can understand that. But it's more the Liberty University colors here. But this is going back to Jimmy Johnson's 2013 All-Star victory.
Mm-hmm. And there's something sentimental about that race, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was when Jimmy Johnson then set the record for the most All-Star race victories.
Okay. I like it. Throwing back to Jimmy Johnson, I think that's very sentimental. I'm going 9. I think it looks well, replica of the car, the Jimmy Johnson car. I I wish it was more like looking at it. I would be able to tell it was more Jimmy. I had to ask Danny what it was thrown back to because I had never even seen that. Versus like Chase Elliott, I looked at it and I knew instantly it was Jimmy Johnson's.
Personally, I wish they would have picked a different car for William Byron. Like I would have probably rather seen maybe his. I guess 2013 was still the year he got his 6th championship, but. Maybe had done 2016 when he got 7. Maybe done 2010 when he got his 5th one. It was a different paint scheme. But I don't know. I like it. It still looks good and accurate, so I'm going to say a 9.
Okay, moving on. Ooh.
This is J.J. Yaley. I cannot remember whose car this throws back to.
It says really small. I can't really see that.
I can't really read that. But what I love here is they're incorporating they've made the Jacob look like the old Nerf logo, and the Jacob company that's on the side, it's supposed to be the old people who used to make diecast. It was part of Action. Cool. It was called Winner's Circle. Yeah. And they had perfectly made it look just like the old Winner's Circle logo.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could see like where the J is. It has that kind of like flag, and awesome.
Even though I don't expect it to run well, I'm going to say a solid 9 for them.
I definitely agree. I think they really had a lot of effort put into this car to really match, going from the Jacob to even match the Nerf. You can see on the hood the Nerf logo. I think it does really well.
I wouldn't really ever want many Rick Ware Racing diecasts, but if they wanted to try to sell one, I'd try to sell that one.
Oh yeah.
All right, we have John Hunter Nemechek here. Another Elliot Sadler throwback, actually.
All right.
This goes back to the early days of Elliot Sadler's Cup career when he was with Wood Brothers Racing, and he ran a Sit-Go car. So the company Sit Guard has tried to make their logo look like the old Sit-Go font. Mm-hmm. So I think that looks pretty good what they've done here. They've made the 38 kind of resemble his old font, but at the same time, I feel like they could have done a different Elliot Sadler paint scheme. Like, they claim this is from 2000. It's actually not. The 2000 Elliot Sadler car looked really good, actually. That's not quite the same because it had more of a design to it. Mm-hmm. They could have done better, but I do like what they're going for, so I'm going to give them a 5.
Okay, I go 6. I like that they're thrown back to somebody, but it's just kind of plain. So. Yeah. Man, it's okay.
This is Cole Custer throwing it back to Curtis Turner, which I know Slapshoes had a really good video on Curtis Turner, so if no one saw that, go ahead and check it out. But I like what they've done with this. It just looks like it's really well made. Everything flows good. You got to incorporate the little Haas accessory things. I don't know exactly what that is on the hood, but the number font's right. They've done the name right above the number like that. I'd give it an 8.
I'm 7. I think it's looks really close to actually what the car was. So I approve this one. Great.
Now here's everyone's sentimental favorite. He's not in the playoffs, unfortunately.
That I kept seeing things on Twitter just like, if he would have won this stage, or if he would have, not missed it because of COVID. If he would have done this, if he would have done that, and it's just like, but we don't need to focus on all the negative. The last couple of years where he hasn't made the playoffs or hasn't won races. Let's just focus on his whole career. Yep. His whole career is incredible, how many wins he has, 7 championships. Like, you can't look at the negative and think, he was a terrible driver. If you just came in as a fan watching this.
If you just discovered who Jimmy Johnson is 2018 and after, sorry, you picked the wrong years.
Yeah, I started watching in 2016, which didn't really appreciate who Jimmy Johnson was. I'm just like, okay, he's a driver that people like. He's a popular driver. And then we were at Bristol for his 2017 win.
Yeah, so we saw his second to last victory.
As of now.
So far.
So hopefully he can get one more to kind of have a, send off, yay, this is my last one kind of thing.
Yep. Because I'm sure everyone's waiting on his next win and be like, okay, I'm ordering that diecast.
Yeah.
But then what happens is he wins 2 weeks later. Oh, gosh.
I know. But I didn't really get to appreciate who Jimmy Johnson was in full. But, I think, looking back, he was an awesome driver. And even throwing back to the greats even before him.
He's respecting those who paved the path that he now walks on. He's one of 3 7-time champions, throwing it back to Richard and Dale here. I like it. I'm going to give it a solid 10.
10 for me. I even like that they even have the 7X like for 7-time right beside the NASCAR Cup Series logo and has them in the color of each of the, the 3 drivers. I wish there was, I think, if I had to critique it at all, I wish there was something more that had like Jimmy on it. So it'd be like all 3.
Yeah.
Versus, his name's on the name rail and you have the 7X. I just wish there was a little bit more touch, maybe on like the bumper, have something. But
Yeah.
I can't complain too much. I think it was neat to kind of mesh these 2 together and, actually, as Jimmy the driver, mesh 3 together.
But hey, that's why he had his teammates do all his throwbacks for him, so.
Yeah, so there we go.
All right.
10.
Next one. I don't know who's driving this one this year. I cannot keep up with the Rickware racing cars and who all's driving.
Well, they changed so much.
But I think this is the exact same one they did last year, so I don't like that aspect of it. But it throws back to a pretty good scheme, the old, I think Bobby Allison Coca-Cola scheme.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what it looks like.
So I like it, but just the fact that I think it was reused from last year, I'm gonna say a 4.
I go 4 as well. I think it looks neat, but not knowing much about it, I think that's where it lands more on the negative side.
Yep. All right,
Ooh.
10. Solid 10. No, honestly, this is probably my favorite of the Jimmy Johnson cars because this is when he won his first championship, and then he had this scheme all the way through until 2008. So it was very iconic for Jimmy Johnson and Andrew Motorsports fans. So, and it's my guy. So, yeah, I'm going to say a 10 for this one.
Yeah. I guess I didn't really realize until you started talking about it, about the numbers, like not all the teams throwing back to the number, because this is Alex Bowman's same numbers, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't change, but I do like that it's still neon. Like I look at it and I knew
they did go with neon, and I like that.
Yeah, looking at it, I'd say Jimmy Johnson. I can tell who that is before even.
I see that blue that's on that, and I'm like thinking, ooh, this car would look really good in like a liquid color diecast.
I really think so, but cha-ching, that's gonna be so much more money. Well, I think we might consider buying all 4.
We need about 300,000 views on this video in order to pay for these diecasts. So go ahead and keep on watching this and watch
Lick
those
that
ads.
like button.
All right, next one. All right, going back to just a couple years down the line here. So this is back when Christopher Bell was in the Truck Series driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports. So here's the thing. It looks great because it's a modern paint scheme. Like, this would be awesome if this is like the actual Ream paint scheme.
I agree.
I mean, they've done a great job with the colors here. But it's the fact that this is your rookie year in the Cup Series and you're throwing back to yourself.
Yeah, I'm a little conceited.
Yeah, so.
One thing I don't, it looks like it's like a diecast laying on a sidewalk.
Kinda.
I mean, what is it?
I don't know what they went for that background there, but.
Maybe they just kind of photoshopped it, but honestly, it looked like a little 124 diecast, like just laying on the ground and like hovering over and cha-ching.
I see what you're saying there. The fact that the car looks good helps it a ton, in my opinion, but just the fact of the meaning behind it, I'm going to say an 8 just because of that.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same range. I'll say 7. I think it looks awesome, like as a normal paint scheme, kind of like with the Eric Jones things. I wouldn't be too mad if they use that going forward, but kind of like he said, throwing back to yourself. Yeah. All right, so we wrapped up on Cup Series drivers.
I think we got one more.
Daniel Suarez. How could we forget about that?
Talk about going back to yourself, winning a championship there, bud. And funny thing is, he literally ran this paint scheme for like the first part of his rookie year, I think. Because it was the paint scheme that he had in 2016, and they started just use that same paint scheme for his 2017 rookie car. They did change it at one point, but it's the same paint scheme that was on his car back his rookie year, and also his championship year in the Xfinity Series. I guess the font's pretty fine. It's really similar to Joe Gibbs' font in a way. It looks good, but just because it's a modern scheme, I saw this a couple of years ago, so
That's true.
I'm just gonna give it a 5.
Because of that.
Just because we literally saw this a couple of years ago.
I'm a sucker for ones that throw back and have the actual same sponsor.
Yeah.
I'm 7. I think it's solid. But I guess because it was a couple years ago and throwing back to yourself was like.
Oh well, But I think that's it for the Cup Series. Let's go on to the Xfinity Series.
Before we go, do you want to rank them, or do you want to wrap that up at the very end once we see all of the schemes?
Let's see all of them.
Let's see all the schemes.
And then we'll pick our 3 favorite.
Okay, out of all. Fair. All right, let's go on to the next series.
So we have Jeffrey Earnhardt starting us out here with JD Motorsports. This is going back to the Bass Pro Shops car that Dale Earnhardt drove.
Oh, so that's kind of neat family throwback.
Yep. So it's kind of appropriate there. It kind of hurts a little bit that the sponsor doesn't look anything like Bass Pro Shops, but what can you do about that?
Yeah, that'd be kind of hard to...
I feel like that O on the side is way too small, but this is also, I think it's an iRacing render, so I think that's why. Probably going to look a little bit different when they get onto the actual track.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say a 7 on this one.
Okay, yeah. I think it's neat being family throwback. I'm going 8.
All right. So next one. I really like this one.
Yes.
Michael Annette, and what they've done here, I was wondering, is Oreo a sponsor for this straight up? But what it actually is, it's Pilot Flying J using it as an opportunity to use one of their products that's in their, lineup. So they're promoting, Oreo through Pilot, I think is what they're doing here.
I'm guessing it would be something like how Kroger, with the JTG team,
pretty much exactly like that.
Different products, through that.
You're not going to see Oreo with them any other time of year. It's just that Pilot is saying, hey, make it authentic and put Oreo on there, because we sell it. So.
Yeah, so that's definitely sponsors that kind of go together.
Yeah. Now I think I see some change. It looks like the Oreo logo has changed a little bit. I don't know if Ritz is on the hood of the Michael Annette car like it is on the real one.
Yeah, and the render they didn't show that, so we don't know.
It looks really good. Iconic scheme for sure. I'm gonna say a 9 on this.
Yeah, I'm up there as well. I'm 9. I think it's awesome. Especially since a sponsor we don't see around anymore.
Yeah,
so I think
they
it's
used
really
to be around
neat.
pretty often, but not so much anymore.
I think it's neat with like the splash of milk, and I just think, man, that makes me want some Oreos.
I know.
So I think they're doing well with that sponsorship.
Yeah, but I'm dieting. I don't need to see that. So get it out of my face.
Oh,
this one
Ryan Vargas.
just released before we started, and I love this one. I wanted a Ryan Vargas number 15 diecast to be made. Unfortunately, it did not meet enough pre-orders, and I hope Lionel Racing is going to offer this one because I will for sure pre-order this one. It looks amazing. He's actually in the 6 car this weekend rather than the 15. They've changed the font of his number up to match who they're going back to. Do you know who they're going back to by chance?
I don't.
I'll show you.
Oh, wow, that's neat.
Ryan Vargas is throwing back to Jimmy Johnson back in the Busch Series.
Wow. It's funny, I looked at the driver. I didn't even see the name Jimmy Johnson real bold. I saw the driver and I'm like, okay. First I looked at the car. Okay, that looks good. Driver, who is that? Jimmy Johnson. Wow, that's awesome. So let's go back.
I really like what Ryan is doing here.
That was a really well made car. Kudos to design team for that one.
Oh yeah, and it helps that they already run a red car as it is. So I'm honestly gonna say a 10. I like the idea behind it. It's something no one really thought to do except for Ryan Vargas and JD Motorsports.
Yeah, since it's a Jimmy throwback, I think 10, and it matches really well. They usually run just kind of blank slate red cars, so it's kind of neat to see there's a little bit more design into it. I think it's really neat, and a design that no one had done.
Look at the attention to detail here. The cranial care bears, they have 2 little bears right here, and the Excedrin had 2 pills up here.
Yeah, they did well on that one.
Yeah, so I like what you guys have done here. 10 for me.
Yeah.
All right, now this is a popular one. I love what they're doing here. It was the old Flames, just junior car that Dale Jr. drove in the Busch Series back in the day. I like it. It even has like Hall of Fame there on the side there because it's a tribute to Dale Earnhardt Jr. going into the Hall of Fame now.
Right.
So I really like this, and no complaints from me whatsoever. I'd say a 10. 10
as well. I love this. It looks almost identical to what I think the actual car was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Almost to a T. I mean, I think, what did he run with the Junior Motorsports logo real big, or was it something else?
The Junior Motorsports was real big. They do have the Junior Motorsports logo right here, I see.
Yeah.
Only thing I would have said, and I get, Brandt's paying for it, so you got to get them prominent. But if Brandt could have, took the big logo on the side, could Brandt maybe have taken a smaller logo right there and just put the big Junior Motorsports up there to be prominent?
I think
that's my only complaint, but I will say it's a 10 because I just love the way this car looks.
If we could tweak it, but I really like it with the flames because when I see the flame, those kind of reddish orange and black Junior Motorsports, you even see on the logo that's what the logo is. So I think it looks great.
Yep.
I think if you had to tweak it, it would be that.
Yep. Next one. This is Daniel Hamrick, and we're going back to John Andretti. John Andretti passed away this year, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So I like the meaning behind that. It's very much authentic to John. I'm going to personally match a door number. I'm going to say an 8 on this one.
Okay, I'm 9. I really love the colors. I don't know what the actual car they're throwing back to looks like, so I can't say over the top 10. There's mm-hmm. not. I can't match it to anything. Which maybe that's something I'll have to look up later. But I think it looks like a very pretty car. I approve.
Yep. We have Chad Fincham here now. This is, I can't remember what team this is, to be honest.
What team Fincham's with?
Yeah, I cannot remember who he drives for. Either way, though, that's my fault. This is going back to the team that Dan Marino used to own. I see Bill Elliot even in the picture there. Gosh, it's funny. Younger Bill Elliot looks just like Chase right there.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
I like it. It's very much authentic. They did what I like, the number matches, the Dolphins font there, the logos on the side and on the hood.
Was there a connection with the Dolphins?
Well, Dan Marino was their quarterback.
Okay, see, I don't know that.
Yeah, that's fine. You didn't watch football back then, so that's fine. No fault to you.
But honestly, I didn't notice all those little subtle hints. I mean, obviously, I see now there's the football guy and then the football number. But looking at the car when I saw this earlier, I was like, that looks like the Dolphins. Yeah. So I guess it was pretty good without knowing all the backstory to it. Something else that I thought was interesting, the first plus on the car, the old car, they're thrown back to, mm-hmm. reminds me of like Home Depot font.
Yeah.
Do you see? It kind of looks like that. But in terms of a throwback, I kept looking at this car. Old car, new car, old car, new car. I thought it was to a T, almost exact matchup.
They did everything right for throwbacks because when you take time to get the sponsor to agree to change their font to mm-hmm. do this, and then you change the font on your car, they perfectly duplicated the paint scheme. I'm actually going to give this one a 10. I like it. It's not probably not going to run well, but I will give it a 10.
Yeah, back what we were saying that cars don't run well, but we're going to rate them high. This is one of them.
Yeah.
It looks great. Love the colors, love the exact matching. Awesome.
All right.
I definitely like that.
Now we have Brandon Brown, and to be honest with you, now I know who it is. It's going back to Janet Guthrie. That's who it's going back to. Oh,
that's neat.
And because they even have her name right there above her number. I see that now. So the sentimental part of this, I love it. It's pretty well duplicated as well. Does a good job of using the Coastal College as logos and color to it. I'd say a 9. I like it.
Yeah, I'm right in that same range as you. I'm a 9 as well. I think it's neat, sentimental wise. You don't see many male drivers thrown back to a female to know that
I think it's the first time it's ever happened.
Okay, well, I think it was neat that they recognized that she was somebody they wanted to highlight, and kind of bring attention to her, because I feel like a lot of people don't know about her because it was, so long ago. Mm-hmm. When they think female, they think, Danica, they think Natalie, they think Haley, those females that are more recent, but there was some other females that helped pave the way.
Without Janet Guthrie, there'd be no Haley Deegan. So
yeah, so it's kind of interesting how she, in a male, dominating sport, how she even back then was wanting to race. I think last season or maybe the season before, I remember there was a special that came on about her after a race, mm-hmm. and I was like, I didn't know there was a female before Danica, know? So it was kind of...
There have been several, actually. So.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, to learn more about her, and I think that's awesome that they want to do that.
Yeah, so if there's any woman racer who deserves a throwback, it is Janet Guthrie, so happy to see this one. So, again, I say a 9.
Yeah, definitely.
I like this one. They've done good job of this, a high point.
Ooh, even matches Mobile 1, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They did a good job of that, matching everything up. think Mobile One's even still like a sponsor of Stewart Racing, so I'm surprised that they didn't get them to actually come on board with it.
Yeah.
Now I know back last year, Clint Boyer ran a throwback to Tony Stewart from this same season, but it was doing the Office Depot paint scheme. But now we're getting to see the Mobile One paint scheme being used. I like what they've done with it. Everything looks good. They've changed the logos out to make it look pretty good. I'm gonna give this one a 9.
I'm a 10. Very positive. I think it's awesome that even the hood looks like the Mobile One. I could even tell that, and all of the design that's going on the side, very close to the same. So
I think out of all the Xfinity schemes, this one's up there for one of my favorites.
I agree.
But I think I might have still liked that Justin Allgaier one a little bit more. But that's because I'm a biased Junior fan.
That's hard to beat.
All right. I think this is all for the Xfinity Series.
Xfinity Series really showed up. I think they really came out with some awesome schemes. So I don't think there was really that many negatives in there. So
no.
that was a good batch.
So trucks, I don't think there's many, but there is a few.
All right, let's see what we got.
We have the entire GMS stable here, and they've done a good job of showing you all the ones they're going back to.
Oh, yeah.
And personally, GMS is doing the same throwback that Joey Logano was doing. But I think their colors look better, and they have put the GMS logo on there in the same font that Miller's logo is.
So, yeah, in terms of that
They did it better. They did it better, in my opinion. And they actually changed the font to look right. Joey Logano didn't even do that.
Yeah.
So, I like that one.
And the fact that it was a 23 car, it's kind of neat. Right?
No, it was a 22.
But wasn't it 23 that's blurred out in the back?
Oh, wait, yeah. Okay. Oh, you're right.
But there was a 22.
I just forgot.
There was a 22 because I said, when I rated Joey Logano's, I said, this number's on the screen a lot.
I guess they had a different one, too. My bad. That's on me.
But, yeah, I mean, it's very similar paint scheme, so we'll just compare it. But still, they
honestly
did well.
I'd say as a whole group, like...
We're just going to rank this as a group because you can't break them
apart. I'd say GMS was a solid 10. They did great in all their throwbacks.
I can't really see it because the image is small, but I really can't see, anything too negative about it. What?
I think this blue one here is thrown back to one of the old Hendrick Motorsports trucks, and I think this one Greg Biffle's driving.
Okay, I'll give it a 8. Think it's good.
Yep.
Can't really see too much how much of the cars, so which that was just the rendering they put out there to as a team to say, here we go, here's all of ours.
So she says 8 as a group, and I say 10 as a group. This is a little bit blurry, but it's the only picture I had of it. This is Stuart Friesen, and I'll be honest, I don't know the exact meaning behind this paint scheme, and it hurts me a lot because I don't know who they're throwing back to in this case. But it looks like it's pretty authentically, throwback style, like it should be. So I'm going to give this one a 7. I would say 8, but I don't know the backstory on it. So that's my fault.
It's funny we fall in the same range. I guess we're either really satisfied or we're not. We're kind of on the same page here. I say 7.
Okay. And then we have Clay Greenfield. Clay Greenfield, local guy. He's here in the Nashville area.
Awesome.
But he's going back to one of Bobby Hamilton's trucks.
Country Time Lemonade.
Or not Bobby Hamilton's trucks, one of Bobby Hamilton's cars.
But Country Time Lemonade.
Yeah, Country Time Lemonade.
Gosh, that's making me thirsty.
It's funny,
right now.
even the logo, you can tell it looks like Country Time Lemonade.
Yeah, this one just got released right before we started recording this. So Danny was on Facebook. I'm like, look, hold on, there's one right there. So this one just made the cut. I think it's awesome. From the picture, I think he uploaded another one with that, and it was pretty close. I'm very positive on this one.
I'll give it a 9 personally.
I'm 9 as well. Look, there you go. We're doing the same rating again, but
yep.
I think it's well made.
And I'm pretty certain that's all of them, but I'll double check. Oh, we got one that we missed.
Ooh, that's cool.
So, we got one we missed from the Xfinity Series here, and this is Jeremy Clements. I think it's probably the way I saved them and probably messed it up a little bit.
Okay.
But Jeremy Clements is... this scheme isn't really anyone specific. It just looks kind of like retro looking. But what they went for here is this is South Carolina Racing Legends is what they went for here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're racing in South Carolina.
Yeah.
You got some of the best drivers from South Carolina. You got a retro scheme. So, I like the creativity they've gone in this case. But, again, like Quinn House car, it's not throwing back to anyone's any specific
So you be a negative again?
I'm going to say a 5 just because I'm stuck in the middle.
Okay, we're going to differ here. I'm going more positive. I'm going about a 7. I think it looks neat, nostalgic, kind of have like, older drivers, that kind of, paved the way is iconic. I think it's neat, but just because it's not an actual scheme, it just has faces on the side. Wanting a paint scheme, just putting a picture there, that's where I fall.
All right.
Are we wrapped up?
Let me double check.
Oh!
So this is not for Darlington. I have this in here as an honorable mention.
I was thinking that Brett Moffitt had a truck that...
But this is running at Phoenix in November.
So
but
it's kind of
I still want to qualify it as a throwback.
True.
Again, this is the same one that Alex Bowman is running, so I'm going to say a 10 on this one.
I really like this. I think this would be an awesome car on the track. Will be an awesome car on the track.
I bet the sponsor Plan B Sales has a lot of pre-orders going out right now.
I think so. I think that would look awesome as a diecast. I don't know that we can swing all these pre-orders, but
again, we need about 300,000 views on this video.
Yeah. Well, one good thing about pre-ordering diecast is you set it up now. They don't charge you till later. So we're like, woohoo, yeah, fine. We'll get that. And then a couple months down the road, we're looking at our bank account. Oh, crap. I forgot. So that's what's dangerous almost about that. But
all right, so
awesome scheme.
This is all of them now.
All right.
So now we got to think long and hard. What's our favorites here?
We got to go sit in our thinking chair and think. Just kidding. Ooh, how am I going to narrow it down? So I think at the beginning I said top 3 and honorable mention. So it's just kind of like, close. Are you fine with those ratings? Yeah. You don't look too sure. Ooh, this is going to be hard. I'm like, especially to go back to the truck series. So let's start kind of at the bottom and work our way up to first place.
Okay.
Honorable mention, one that you thought was a good one. I guess. I don't know. How do you want to do this?
So we got to pick our 3 favorites.
Yeah.
And it could be from any series. If you liked all the Cup series, you can like all the Cup series.
Yeah. So we're doing over everything we've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easier than.
So I'm gonna say.
Oh well, I say it's easier because I don't have to remember all the Cup series. But then I'm like, oh no, how am I supposed to narrow it down?
Honorable mentions of, cars that I thought were great looking, but I'm not gonna say they're necessarily my favorite. Is Michael Annette's Oreo car. William Byron's car. I like the meaning. It's not necessarily my favorite, but that would be one. So I'm gonna say those 2 are my honorable mentions.
I like now I can't remember who's the driver. The one with the Miami Dolphins.
Okay, Chad Fincham.
I really...
But would you say it's a favorite?
Not something like forget like who's driving the car, how popular the driver is, would it pre-order. Like in terms of the diecast, I would enjoy the diecast, maybe. I feel like good solid one, don't know if I'd get that.
If you're a Miami Dolphins fan and they offer it out of the diecast, I'd buy it up in a heartbeat.
Yeah. But the thing is, if they offer it, because the driver's not, more popular, probably won't. I think it's a good solid one. I like it, but it's not like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So, is there any more honorable mentions for you, or?
I'm saying, because I think in terms of ranking them 1, 2, 3, we have to pick one. We can't just say, oh, in this category, or... Well,
I'm going to, when it comes to ranking them 1 through 3, I'm going to start off with my 3rd place. And
you're giving one driver. Because you picked 2 drivers for honorable mention.
Well, that's because I'm thinking, like, if I had to say, like, my top 5, but in no specific order.
But it's hard because I like all the Jimmy cars, all the Jimmy throwbacks. So how am I supposed to just pick one? Because I feel like Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman's are so close. They're, like, one on the same level.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to pick a couple. Because there's so many drivers we looked at. Yeah. Let's just pick a couple like highlight ones. I really liked Ryan Vargas's car. Just looks great, matched up. I liked Chase and Bowman's car. Felt like it worked well.
I liked Clay Greenfield's truck. I liked it actually pretty well.
Oh gosh, how am I supposed to pick?
All right, I will go ahead and say who's my 3rd pick.
Okay.
Number 3 is Ryan Vargas's Jimmy Johnson throwback.
Okay, well, I talked about his, so we'll put him in the third category. I think it represented well. I think it's awesome for, a small team to kind of highlight somebody like that. I think that's awesome that they want to do that.
So my third place is the Ryan Vargas Jimmy Johnson throwback. Second place for me is going to be Justin Allgaier's Dale Jr. throwback, in my opinion. Maybe it's the bias as a former Dale Jr. fan, but I like the look of that car. I like everything that's going on with it. So that's going to be my number 2.
What? Why do you pick things that I like? Oh. Now I'm racking my brain trying to remember all the ones I've seen. I'm going to go with, this was one that we kind of first started out with, Ryan Blaney's to Paul Menard.
Okay.
I really like the colors. I think that was an awesome looking car.
Yeah. All right.
Drum roll.
Number 1. I'm going to say for my number 1, I can't, it's hard. There's 2, but I think I just got to say a tie for first place.
Okay, who you got?
Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott tie for first place, in my opinion.
All right, you didn't even pick Jimmy Johnson, Mr. 7-time.
Okay, 3-way tie for first.
For the 3 7-time champs. No, I was going to say Jimmy Johnson, how can you beat that? Mm-hmm. With the 2 7-times riding along with him, on the car. I think that's awesome. I don't know if you can top that. I think the Alex Bowman and the Chase Elliott in terms of the Jimmy Johnson throwbacks are, right between 1 and 2. I have to put Jimmy on his little own pedestal. I can't have them even, but.
So what can we say? This is the year of Jimmy, so.
Yeah. Which I'm sure Michael Maroots is happy, right?
Yep, so. Jimmy is who we are all supporting this year. I think his throwbacks are going to sell like hotcakes. So
yeah, it's too bad that they're not offering them in a 4-car diecast set.
They should.
They just have a massive box and like all the diecast.
Yeah.
But I guess they want to give people the option to buy elites or liquid color, all these special finishes. So I guess buying them individually, you have the option, or you can pick and choose if you want this one and that one or whatever. But overall, I think there was a decent turnout of paint schemes that we liked.
Yep.
Some could have been better. Some just had lazy designers. Some just missed the mark. But overall, I think pretty good.
Pretty satisfied with 2020 throwbacks this year. It's just a shame that, Darlington didn't have enough ability to sell more tickets, so we can't go to see it. Mm-hmm. But you can watch it this Sunday live on NBC or NBC Sports app, starting at, what time does the race start? Like 6:30-ish?
I'm sure. It's a night race, sponsored by Cookout this year.
Yeah. That's
new, so go, if you're got a Cookout near you, go get a Cookout tray. They're the bomb. If there's not one near you...
they're like $5, guys. You get so much food.
If there's not one near you, you got to find one soon because they are good. And even with the Cookout tray, upgrade for $1 more, get that milkshake. I know all about that. And they have, if you don't know, they have so many milkshake flavors. I think like 40 of them.
Yeah.
My favorite's like strawberry cheesecake, but he sticks with boring chocolate. Doesn't get anything.
You cannot beat chocolate.
But they have so many. I was so happy to see that they stepped up as a sponsor. I think they just kind of sponsored a little part, and then they saw the Twitter world blow up, and everybody's like, yeah, Cookout, yeah. And they weren't even the title sponsor of the race.
I know.
And I guess they saw so much, positive news and, reactions about that small thing that they're like, well, maybe we'll just sponsor the whole thing,
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome. I know I want to go get me a Cookout tray soon, so... Get your Cookout tray, sit on your couch, prop your feet up, and watch some classic throwback racing. All
right, well, that's enough about Cookout because they're not paying me to say any of this, and they probably should at this point.
I was going to say, we love it so much. That was our go-to place in college, but thankfully there's one about 10 minutes down the road from us, so we can easily go get us a Cookout tray.
All right, well, thanks for watching. This has been pretty longer than I ever expected it to be. So thank you so much for watching. Let us know down in the comments below who is your favorite throwback this year, and give us your personal rankings. And if you're new here, be sure to hit subscribe. We do awesome, great NASCAR content like this here on YouTube. Leave a like on the video. It helps our channel out and continue to grow. And be sure to go out and support other NASCAR YouTube content creators. And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.